Sometimes the hardest thing to do is to say no. I can't tell you how many times I had to say no to my kids, and it tore me up inside. They look at you with their cute little faces and want something, but you have to be the disciplinarian and say no. It got me thinking about saying no in my career as well. Now that I have some experience under my belt, it has become easier to say no, but I wish I started sooner. Today, we will talk about saying no as a tool for founders and how and why you should say no to different stakeholders. This video was a little bit tricky to put together, finding a balance between opening my cards so you guys can get some value, but at the same time, not sharing all of my negotiating tactics was a headache. So I hope you enjoy it. Back when I was a consultant, I used to always tell my team that my job is to promise things to clients, and your job is to deliver on those promises. Although this worked out great a lot of the times, there were cases where I would take it back if I could. Over-promising and under-delivering, especially to a client, can be career suicide, especially when you're a consultant. I learned to manage expectations much better as I got older and I gained more experience, but nonetheless, mistakes were made. I wish there was a video like this one to let me know how and when to say no, so I could have managed those situations much better. Now that I've transitioned into my new role as a startup founder, saying no has become second nature. If you're a startup founder like me, or are in a management role, then you know that the hardest part of your job description is saying no. It sucks. But at the same time, you know that saying no is a crucial part of your company's success. Some ideas are just stupid. Some clients do more harm than good. Some team members need to go now. So how and why do you say no to different stakeholders? Let's unpack that a little bit. So saying no to a candidate or a team member. The hiring process at any startup is always very hectic. You're trying to recruit the best and the brightest, but sometimes the best simply isn't a good fit with the rest of your team. You need to assess fit in a blink of an eye, and sometimes that can lead to mistakes. No big deal here. We've all hired people that didn't pan out. The key here is to part ways with those candidates as soon as possible. If you double down on your mistake and stick to your guns, that team member will create a toxic environment that will affect your company's performance for years to come. Say no fast, deal with the employee, and move on. If they leave unhappy, so be it. Saying no to investors. This can be a tricky one. It's very difficult to say no to a big pile of money. I've learned that closing a deal with a VC or an investor is a lot like getting married. There'll be ups and downs, but as long as you're on the same page, you should be able to move forward and grow. Don't get tempted by the cash, but focus on what value the VC or investor can add to your company before you put a ring on it. VCs are looking for startups that can generate valuation at a high pace, which basically means they're looking to buy your company for cheap and sell it at a higher price. What you need to do is to assess whether they're simply buying a piece to upsell later, or do they truly believe in your product and vision? Do they believe in your team? When you get to know the VCs, ask them questions about their other investments, ask about other companies in their portfolio, and try to gauge whether they're simply firing off numbers like revenue, valuation, or do they tell you stories about their products and founders. Make sure they are investing in you as much as they're investing in your company. Saying no to your partners. The co-founder relationship is a very unique beast. On one hand, you guys know each other very well. You might even be friends. On the other hand, this is a business, and tough decisions need to be made. Too many cooks in the kitchen have brought down some of the most successful startups. Make sure that when you are founding the company, you have an open and honest discussion about who has the final call when you don't agree. Don't be afraid to use that agreement while building your business, and when the time comes, say no. Don't get dragged into a strategy that is not beneficial for the growth of your startup just to save face with your co-founder. Number one needs to listen to number two, but number two needs to accept any decision number one makes. I've been in situations where our startup was 50-50 and decisions were also being made accordingly until we hit a wall and couldn't agree on a key piece of strategy. The company froze. And ultimately, of course, it failed for a lack of leadership. I will never again make that mistake. It's better to be the 49% and have the company move forward. Saying no to a new product. Most successful startups pivot many times before they hit it big. This means that developing new solutions is going to be a prerequisite for success. Although switching your team focus on a new product might be the right call, you have to be sure it falls in line with your startup's goal. This is where the problem-first strategy comes into play. Knowing the problem you are trying to solve and sticking to it is crucial no matter how many products you develop. Have a mental checklist of elements any solution must have for you to consider it as part of the solving the problem that you're trying to attack. If any new product is moving you closer to solving that problem, then green light. If it's not, then don't even bother spending any resources on it. Just say no. The team members that came up with the new solution might not appreciate you saying no in the short run, but they will understand once you hit it big. How we also solve this dichotomy is to run hackathons every month. Basically, we tell team members that if you have an idea for a product and you can find other team members that get excited by your idea, then you can go ahead and work on it, as long as you can launch the beta version within 24 hours. These products then became spin-offs for us, or traffic generators. The team is happy to develop products that they thought of, management is happy because most of the resources are prioritized on long-term solutions, and we get to have a little bit of fun. By the way, if you want to see more on product market fit, I have a video that will help you out. Check it out here. Saying no to a client. This is probably the hardest one to do. The old saying, the customer is always right, is not relevant for the fast-paced environment of the 21st century startup. If your strategy is to grow at scale, that means that any process that is not scalable is a no-go for you to begin with. This includes large clients. I've had cases where I turned down a significant boost in our revenue because servicing that client would require a change of focus within the company. I had to dedicate resources, and that was simply off strategy. We lost short-term cash flow, no doubt, but ultimately the resources that we saved were used to scale other areas of our business, allowing for exponential growth. Here is what we do now. When any client asks for some type of customization within our products, we first try to understand what the use case is. Why does that user need that specific feature, or what are they using it for? If we see that specific use case has more legs, has a higher demand overall in the market, then we'll execute the customization and then package it into a marketing use case and push. If the use case is so specific that we can't leverage it to acquire new users, then we simply say no to the client and move on. The word no is the secret weapon of any successful founder. You might have some haters along the way, but hey, that's business. The quicker you realize that keeping your stakeholders happy is not part of your job description, the quicker you can focus on what really matters, growing your business. In my experience, when your business is booming, then all the stakeholders will come flying. Everyone likes a winner. So focus on winning and say no to anything that stands in your way. Thanks for watching the video. If you like what you saw, please help us out and subscribe so we can continue creating awesome new content. See you next week.